When the last ban list hit, a lot of people were saying that Drytrons were dead and unplayable until at least Lightning Overdrive came out. But ladies and gentlemen, my friend Schuyler, who was playing the deck a couple of weeks ago, went undefeated in the main event of a case tournament of 42 people, thus proving that they're not dead just yet. Without further ado, here's that list. Here's Schuyler. He did Drytron, got first place during the main tournament last week for a case tournament with like 40 something people.
I think it's 40.
40-ish, 42. I think it was 42. Andy here. So we're gonna do a deck profile of that. Starting with
so we got 3 alpha because he's the best one, of course.
Of course.
He's the one that gets the ritual monster in case you don't know how these things work already. This one is your ritual spell searcher. He's even more necessary in this build than any, I feel like, just because he's even a better play starter than alpha sometimes. So you definitely want to see 3 of this. 2 altai. This one reveals a ritual to draw 1. You play enough ritual monsters in this deck and 2 ritual spells, so he should always be live. Drawing cards is typically pretty good. And then we have 1 L-Tannin, Summons from Grave. I would honestly consider bumping this up to 2. 1 was fine last week, but there are times you want to see L-Tannin summoning more stuff, so that's an option, but 1 was perfectly fine. For other names, 2 Manju. He gets you to other pieces, and he himself is actually a necessary piece to the main combo, so you want to play 2 of him. And then for your other Ben 10 target, you have a Lancia. It's part of your end board. So yeah, play that. It's also just very good this format. So, and then 3 Ash Blossom, so you don't auto lose going second, because that's kind of all you can make room for.
All right.
For the ritual monsters, 3 Vendread Battlelord. This guy is absolutely insane. He makes you Nibiru proof, and he gets you further extensions with your plays. So yeah, and you need to play 3 specifically because you use all 3 for the combo.
You use all 3. Fair enough.
For the Megalith package, 2 full, 1 OPL, and 2 Bethor. This is pretty standard. What you're usually ending on is a full with a Bethor in hand and 1 in deck, so you contribute off the 1 for the other. You could potentially drop a full. There was never a time today where last week where there was never really a time where I felt like I needed a second one, so I was often siding the second out. But it is full. It is like the best card in the deck, so like it comes up to player preference, I guess. For the Cyber Angels, 1 Ben 10 and 1 Natasha. Ben 10 obviously, so you play that. And Natasha is very, very good cards. Lets you steal all your opponent's stuff, all that jazz. Helps you win in time as well. And even though you only have the 1 target for it, it's not that bad because we're actually playing Chaos Space, which lets you recycle this, so you can do Natasha multiple times. And then the last one was something I was trying, which is Demise Agent of Armageddon. He was actually surprisingly very good. For those of you who definitely don't know what he does, on summon he mandatory destroys a card non-targeting, which didn't really matter at all. It was mostly his effect for if he's sent to the grave, I can target a ritual, and as long as it's face up on the field, my opponent can't respond to stuff. So if I had a very good hand, I could just set up a full with protection on this, and then I could just be like, okay, full, you can't respond, summon Bethor, you can't respond. It's pretty good. It is cuttable though, I will say that. But it did come up a lot and it was actually pretty nice. Into the spell cards. Triple Nova, best card in the deck, play it. If you can't afford it, don't play Drytron, honestly. 2 Drytron Fafnir. Helps you search for Nova because it's the best card in the deck.
Donk.
And it can come up where you need to get to the ritual spell with it. You don't want to play 3 though because it bricks. It's hard once per turn, so choose what I found to be the best number for it. 3 Cyber Emergency. It's your Drytron Searcher. And then we have 3 Chaos Space, like I was mentioning with Natasha. Its main application is actually to get you your Vendread Battlelord, because he's a dark, so you can send any Drytron you have in hand. Or if you have a Battlelord, it can get you Ben 10. Demise is another target. Very good. It lets you recycle anything that gets banished, whether that be a Drytron, one of the Vendread Battlelords from your main combo. Lets you recycle Ben 10, like I mentioned, for Natasha. Very good card. It's really only an argument of whether you play like just Chaos Space or if you also play Preparation of Rites, which I'm not playing. It's kind of an interesting trade-off because this has fewer targets you can search since it can't get you your Megaliths, but the graveyard utility is more relevant because both of them end up breaking your hands after turn 1 because you go through all your ritual monsters so crazy fast. But this is a better discard off of your nightmares, which is why I valued that more. And you didn't typically need to recycle your ritual spells because this already does it on its own, and you don't need to resolve the Vendread one any more than once anyway. So I felt like this was just a better card overall. And then I guess the ritual spells, we have the one Vendread Evolution and the one Medionis. This should go without saying. It's your really good one, repairs itself, uses machine attack values, very solid. And then this one lets you summon a Vendread from your graveyard or your hand by sending from hand field or from deck one monster. So what you would do is you'd activate it with ideally one engrave, summon that out by sending another Battlelord from deck, and then that lets you banish the one you just sent for the summon for its effect. So it sets you up perfectly. And then for the last 2 spells, I'm playing a Called By and an Instant Fusion because hand traps are a pain in the butt, and these help you do that. And when we get into the extra deck, I'll actually explain how Millenniumize is insanely good for this build even.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll get on to that.
We'll get on to it.
The one Millenniumize, it's your target for Instant Fusion. Lets you play through hand traps, but it also has some extra utility because it's actually it's a dark spellcaster type, which is actually relevant because we're playing Curious. So this is a possible thing to send for your Curious summon. And by the time you're summoning Curious, you've already resolved Battlelord, so this thing doesn't have any application at that point, so it's an extra extender even.
Yeah.
On top of being hand trap. These are your targets for summoning Curious. I mean, they're both good in their own right, of course, but that's typically what you're using them for. Link Reva comes up all the time. This, on the rare occasions where you don't need to use it, can be nice, like if you're using Millenniumize for the summon instead of Anima. But that's kind of the main reason it's in here. We have one IP Masquerena. For boards where you can't set up your typical combo, this is kind of what you're trying to end on, so you have some kind of disruption. And when you have insane hands, like literally everything you could ever hope for, this is also part of your end board, but that doesn't always happen. Then we have a Nightmare package. You have the extra deck space. It's good to just clear boards going second. So
yeah, why not?
You may as well, yeah. Then we have the Curious. This is how we're doing our Foolish Burial since Union Carrier got banned, rest in peace, but like it totally deserved it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, who needs Carrier when you have a Curious?
Yeah, Curious is very good, so like it doesn't even matter really. You're usually summoning this with Battlelord and the 2 link ones. So basically your combo is reliant on whether you can get those 3 on board, which is 2 Drytron names and Battlelord. Usually you're going to be sending like Eltanin or whatever Drytron name you don't need. There was actually a couple times during the tournament where I needed to send Megalith Full or even the Ritual Spell. Very good card. And then the Mill 3 isn't really relevant. You're just kind of praying you hit some Drytron names or Chaos Spaces off of it. But yeah, it's just kind of an extra feature. Its effect for when it's sent to the graveyard did come up a couple times. But yeah. Then for the rank 4s, we have Appaloosa. This is what you're ending on usually in your first turn, using the Curious for it. I mean, what is there to say about Appaloosa, really? It's a very good card.
Negate? Waifu?
There you go. Boral Sword for the OTKs, and then access code. Also sort of for the OTKs, but typically for breaking boards. I actually only summoned it once, and it was just kind of okay. But yeah, it's access code. Biz Dweller for the first Xyz. This is part of your end board. It just kind of destroys a lot of decks, and it's very easy for us to summon, so we play it. And then we have a Zeus package with Nightingale, Downard, and Zeus. Because Zeus is kind of a good card, I've heard.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
What I've heard.
Onto the side deck. We're playing triple Phantasme. I wasn't expecting a lot of Dragon Link or Phantom Knights today, but I decided to put these in case we did, and that was most of my matches, funny enough. We saw 2 Dragon Link and 2 Phantom Knights, so this card came up a lot.
Like, I feel like we've reverted back to this format that we just got out of before Drytrons were even out. So I feel like Fantasme was a good option.
It was very good. It helped me unbreak some hands. It actually did help me see like Lancia in matchups where I didn't hard open it. Very good card. And additional utility, it's a dark dragon, so it's another target you can summon with Curious with. So it had even more utility there. The other 2 Lancias, because good this format, and it's searchable, so no reason not to. You can just keep doing it over and over again. Triple Forbidden Droplet. I never saw this. So, like, it didn't really matter. The one time I did see it, I discarded it for a Nightmare. So, I don't really know what to say about this. It didn't do anything, but it's
there.
It's a good card. It just never came up for whatever reason. Back row hate, 3 Twin Twisters. Never went against anything it was particularly relevant against. But like back row just is a pain in the butt to deal with anyways. That's why we're also playing the 1 Harpies.
Yeah, it's there for when we need it.
I was expecting a lot more Eldritch than we ended up seeing. I didn't see a single Eldritch, but I mean it's there in case I need it. And then when we're going first, Solemn Judgment, so that way we don't auto lose to Dark Relinum or Droplets if they don't send a trap, that kind of thing.
Cool. Alright, so we're going to some of the basic combos. Basic. This is ideal combo, probably.
Yeah, this is kind of what you want to see typically. It's not perfect because there's ways to end on better boards, but this is kind of the ideal. Is any real way to do this kind of thing. So you want to see an Alpha, a Zeta, and a Chaos Space. There are a bunch of different hands that get you there, but this is kind of the easiest one. But like this could be a Nova instead of these 2, and a Chaos Space, and some other light that you can send with it. Like it really is just a matter of getting a feel for the deck and knowing what you need to get at what times. But we'll just do this. So first you're going to do the Chaos Space, sending the Fugen, which will get you your Battle Lord. Then you'll do Fugen, sending Zeta for your Ben 10, because good card.
Good card.
Zeta will send Ben 10, summoning itself, which will get you the Vendread Ritual spell. And then Ben 10 will trigger, giving you a Monju. I guess this is supposed to be on. You'll do the Evolution, sending another Battle Lord from your deck to summon the one from hand. And then you'll use his effect, banishing the other one from your graveyard. You're now Nibiru approved because that was your 3rd summon. And any other hand traps they have, they can't activate that. Unless they're playing Empire, but who does that? And then here you're going to link off your 2 Drytrons into a Link Rebone and Anima. You now have 3 monsters with the same attribute but different types, so you can make your Curious. Here you'll do Chainlink 1 Curious, Chainlink 2 Battle Lord. Battle Lord will send the 3rd Battle Lord from your deck and add the Megalith full, or if you already have it, just get a different ritual monster, probably the Demise. And then Curious will Foolish Burial your L-Tannin. And then it'll mandatory do the Mill 3, which doesn't really matter. Unless you hit like the Lancia or something, it's just kind of whatever. And then from here, you'll do L-Tannin, tributing the full to summon back another name. You'll normal summon the Monju, which will get you your Medionis. And then you'll do the Medionis, summoning full using one of the names. This on summon will get you back Ben 10. and then Medionis on the L10 and add that back to your hand. You'll use full effect tributing off the Ben 10 to summon Ophiel, and then both of these will trigger, which will get you a Bethor and an Artifact Lancia. Then from here, you can overlay these into your Abyss Dweller, and then you can send these off for an Appaloosa. And since we had the Chaos space, we can also banish that, put the Battle Lord back in the deck, draw another card.
Neat.
So with just those 3 cards, you go +1 in hand with a 2 material Appaloosa, a full that'll be summoning a Bethor to destroy 4 cards, and then an Abyss Dweller and a Lancia. So they're having to play through 2 Floodgates, 2 Monster Negates, and pop 4. Plus whatever else you have in hand, and you have plenty of setup for next turn as well.
Neat.
So that's kind of what you're looking for with your with this deck, is setting up this board, because Lancia Dweller is good against just about everything you're going to see. Plus you have, you know, all the good stuff that Drytron lets you play, because rituals are cool.
Rituals are neat. Who needs a Union Carrier when you have Battle Lord? Well, I do. But I'm an ABC player who wants an errata for a Union Carrier. But that's a whole different topic for a different video. As someone who wants to put the deck together in the future, this deck is still very much capable of doing a whole bunch of shenanigans, even with Union Carrier banned and Ben 10 limited. And only gets better in Lightning Overdrive. So about halfway through the video, I managed to hit myself in the eye with my mask, thus proving that I am a clumsy fool. So if you enjoyed that at least, subscribe to the channel, check out my other content. I know over half of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so please fix that. My name is Brent, and I am Maxed Out Weird, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.